Hello, Deal Quest community. Today, we're going to talk about just a quick high-level review of how to prepare for deals. So, we talked about previously, how do you find deals? So now let's say you found a deal, whether it's, a company you're going to buy or a buyer for your company or, a joint venture, a strategic alliance or licensing deal, whatever it is, right? You now found the deal. Well, how do you prepare for that? Or even you're still looking for the deal, you have, and there are things you can do to prepare even before you have the particular deal. So let's talk about that. So what do you want to do, let's say in advance of even finding a deal, and then we'll talk about some preparation items when you have actually found the deal, right? So in advance of finding a deal, the thing that you want to do is make yourself deal ready. Now, what does that mean? That means a few things. One, on the due diligence side, the counterpart on your deal is always going to be doing due diligence on you, right? If they're looking to buy you, they're going to be ripping everything apart, looking at your contracts, your financials, your team, any issues you've had in the past, litigation, regulatory exposures, you name it, right? Well, you want to pre-prepare for that. And good advisors, we do this all the time with our clients. We have them pre-prepare, knowing, having the experience we do, we know what buyers, what merger partners, what strategic alliance partners, various types of deals are going to be looking for in the due diligence. And again, different types of deals have different levels of due diligence, but you want to get out ahead of it. You want to go through a pre-due diligence process that basically has you find the issues that will come up if you didn't do this pre-process and you did it only when the deal counterparty came in, right? You don't want to find out that you don't have a key extension on a key contract, right? You may be operating and providing services for the client, but maybe the contract really expired, right? You don't have an amendment. Well, the buyer is going to be, worried about that. You're doing a licensing deal and you find out, wait a second, you let one of your trademarks lapse. Oh, well, you better clean that up, right? If that's part of what they're licensing. So you want to do that pre-due diligence. The other thing you want to do is look at what it's going to take to actually get the deal done and what resources you need in terms of people, in terms of team, in terms of your internal folks, in terms of external, resources or advisors, right? Accountants, your lawyers, your consultants, your investment bankers, whoever that might be on a particular deal. Like, do you need to get them ready and geared up? Make sure that they have time and availability. Look at the impact internally, right? Because doing deals takes time. And depending upon the size and type and whatever deal, you may need to pull in one or more or multiple people from your firm. Well, what else are they working on? Will this deal be a distraction to? And do you need additional support in any way for them to be able to do this and not have it adversely affect your operating business? Because I've certainly seen that happen where people, who don't have, are not at the size where they have people who focus full time on their deals, because bigger companies do that, right? As you grow, you can get people in and have a head of acquisitions or, a director of, of licensing or a director of strategic alliances, wherever it is. If you're not at that stage, or even if you are, some of your other people are going to get pulled in to the deal process and, make sure that they have capacity and make sure that you have your operations of your existing company being able to continue to run in a way that, that they're not going to be adversely affected, because that could affect that deal or, the company in general, right? So you want to look at that. You want to look at yourself and your own time in the same way, right? Are you going to be leading this deal? Is it going to take a lot of your time, or do you have a team that's able to do that? You continue to focus on, on where you are. How do you put yourself in that position to be best set up? You, even at this stage, want to start thinking about a later stage, which is the integration stage, post-deal. Obviously, the actual integration happens post-deal, but in advance, you want to start thinking about what it's going to take to do that integration, because that is also going to take resources, team, money, people, focus, energy, strategy, right? Communication strategy out to them, cultural integration strategy. And the more you think about that in advance, the better off you are. Now, when you get to finding a particular buyer, right, or deal partner, or a seller, or a licensing partner, or a strategic alliance partner, joint venture partner, whatever it is, right, whatever the deal is, affiliate partner, there are things you're going to want to do to prep, depending upon what the deal is, in terms of your own due diligence on them, right? Research, making sure you figure out what the downsides are, the risks, whether it's reputationally, whether it's legally, things like that, what their objectives are, how, if it's the kind of deal where you're taking on people, whether it's in a merger or you're acquiring, or, you're doing some deal where even if you're not bringing their people in house, you got to work closely because it's a joint venture where there's close integration of project plans or teams. How are you gonna do that and figure out, that plan in advance and figure out what the working relationship is going to be. Maybe if it is a acquisition or merger, you're gonna have to figure out, well, who on their executive team is going to continue, right? Or maybe on yours, maybe they have somebody better, maybe the CFO is better than yours. And how you're going to handle, prepping for making sure you're making those personnel decisions, and then how you're communicating that to the folks who may adversely impact, and how that's going to affect the culture of the company. So you want to start thinking about these things in advance, right? The more thinking you can do about the impact of the deal generally in advance, and then the impact of the deal with the particular company, and do the research on them, not only from the legal and financial due diligence, regulatory due diligence side, but also even personality, culture, things like that. How's the fit going to work, right? Are there cultural differences that you have to bridge? Is one company much more free spending than the other, or they have different expectations about how clients are going to be dealt with? Are they have a nurturing culture for employees, and the other one not so much? You want to think about all of these things in advance. So the more advanced planning and strategic things you can do, again, there's a block of stuff you can do even before you have a particular deal in mind. But when you know that you're definitely going to do deals to really get you in a position, because here's the thing, you don't want to be scrambling. There's a lot going on when you have a deal, not to mention running your company, right? And having your team run the operations of your company in addition to doing the deal. You don't want to be scrambling on these things. You want to get as much done in advance as possible. And then when you get a particular deal in place, you can deal with the deal specific items that you couldn't do in advance, but at least the other ones are done. So that's my quick thoughts on preparing for a deal. Definitely, get some support. We can help you with that as well. But advanced planning, strategy, thinking it through, making sure you have the resources, and what your communication plan is going to be, doing your due diligence, getting your own house in order. These are all things that'll make deals much more likely to happen. So hopefully this will help you prepare for your deals coming up. Take care.